make the difference between looking polished and just so-so. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most distinguished knots, the full Windsor. Start with the wide end of the tie to the right, about 12 inches or longer than the narrow end on the left. Cross the wide end over the narrow end to the left. Bring the wide end around and up through the loop.
Fucking YouTube commenter, do your tie properly.
Bring the wide end behind the narrow end.
Fucking do this.
Back.
In the years since Skylanders first made themselves known to the world, I've had various commenters ask me why I don't consider them a bad thing. A question that has only intensified since Nintendo joined the toy-based gaming craze with Amiibo. Most recently, somebody asked me if I considered Amiibo to be a new form of on-disc DLC, a form of downloadable content that must be maligned as it represents content that should have been available in the base game and therefore has been shadily gated away from us. First off, let me explain why I found Skylanders appealing and why I currently have the same fascination with Amiibo that clearly a lot of other people have. See, I'm a child of the 90s first and foremost, and part of what I love about these things is how they remind me of the gimmicky collectibles that I used to obsess over as a kid. Things like Monster in My Pocket, Mini Boglins, the Trash Bag Bunch, Pet Aliens, oh yeah, I remember those ones, all that fun stuff. It was a big hit in them days, made pack rats of a lot of us, and it's a major part of why I like these things today. The Skylanders in particular nailed that 90s gimmick structure, and its success seems to indicate that there's still a lot of love out there for silly collectible plastic tat, to say nothing of the wacky scarcity surrounding the current Amiibo gold rush. I like collecting things, and really, how else are you gonna get a Wii Fit trainer figure or a little Mac? I think I'd want these things even if they did nothing at all, but the fact I can swipe them all across my gamepad to nab a bunch of extra rupees and weapons in Hyrule Warriors is like icing on the cake. And that makes me think of Barcode Battlers, another bit of shit from the 90s that people barely talk about anymore. Remember that? Remember that? That's good too. Unlike underhanded practices like smuggled on disc DLC, one important thing to note about Amiibo and similar products is that you know what you're getting up front. We know what the toys do, we know what the games that function with them do, so nobody's being misled, nobody's having content sold to them as downloadable stuff when it's just gated on the disc. This is especially important with Skylanders and Disney Infinity, where you know straight away that you need the figures to work with the game. Rather than being comparable to DLC, I'd argue that's closer to needing fake instruments for Rock Band, a PlayStation Eye camera for iToy, or a Kinect to play something like D4, and maybe one of the other Kinect games that are good. They're not DLC so much as peripherals. When it comes to Amiibo specifically, I think Nintendo hit upon a clever way of delivering extra content, because while some have complained that they don't do much, I think doing a little over a wide variety of games is less offensive than making them crucial to one or two. You don't need the extra silly costumes in Mario Kart 8, you don't need the extra rupees and one more weapon of dozens in Hyrule Warriors. Even the most extensive Amiibo extra, the customizable fighters in Smash Brothers, are more a throwaway extra than anything anywhere near important. But if I already have the Amiibo, it's a case of why the fuck not, may as well get it. I don't want Amiibo to have too much of an impact on games because I think they work perfectly as they are. Fun little toys that you can have hang out on a shelf while occasionally picking up a bit of fluffy shit in a game here and there. As far as content practices go, it's at least inventive and feels more fun for the end user, which I really don't have a problem with. One thing people misunderstand about me in particular is that they believe I hate downloadable content. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I like extra content. I think DLC is, in theory, a great concept. Unfortunately, like most great concepts, so-called AAA publishers twisted the idea and did shitty things with it to the point where content itself has almost become a dirty word. Actual on-disc DLC, costume DLC that costs way more than it should, free-to-play style content smuggled onto $60 retail games, important story content that feels cut out of the main game and resold to us, all of this is lazy, duplicitous, or good old-fashioned greedy, and I don't put Amiibo in the same category. They're a take-it-or-leave-it, moderately clever gimmick that have no significant impact on video games, but nonetheless provide some extra fun whether you've bought one or have the entire set. Now all that said, fuck Nintendo's manufactured scarcity bullshit, because some of the shit we've seen with Amiibo disappearing off the face of the planet, as well as stores like Toys R Us cancelling pre-orders and reopening sales in the dead of night to fuck customers over, is just utter gibberish nonsense. I mean, between Amiibo and the Majora's Mask 3D limited edition, Nintendo's best served scalpers, who'll be able to put their kids through college off the shit they make from eBay this year. Now, I'm not saying we should see 10 million villagers on store shelves, but come on, let's at least supply to demand, because Nintendo ain't making shit off the ones that go for upwards of $40 on fucking internet. And really, Amazon, you're gonna let one dude buy up all the Majora's limited edition, so when I try and get one, almost as soon as it was announced, there's none left for me. When does Jimmy win? Amazon and Nintendo, when does Jimmy get his share? I work hard, I pay my taxes, at the end of the day I should be allowed to buy a Majora's Mask 3D limited edition if I want one, and I have a Skull Kid, and everyone can say, Jim, we respect you, we know you worked hard, and we can see you have a Skull Kid. Well done, Jim, well done. And I'll be all, thank you for recognising that I've done my part to contribute to society. Thank you for recognising that I, Jim Sterling's son, deserve a fucking Skull Kid. Just like anybody else, we should all have the right to a Skull Kid each. And what has Obama done about this? He's done nothing. The politicians do nothing. They just sit on their asses collecting their kickbacks and do nothing to ensure that every American gets a Skull Kid like every American deserves. And I'm just sat here wondering when things are going to change. When are we going to get the change that was promised to us? When am I going to get a fucking Skull Kid? That's all I want. I just want a Skull Kid. I don't want to get 10,000 of them. I don't want to buy 1,000 from Amazon and then put 1,000 of them on eBay and sell them for $1,000 each so that I get $1,000. That's not what I want. I'm Jim fucking Sterling. Rather than produce on-disc DLC, I think Nintendo's done a really good job this past year of taking a lot of industry bullshit ideas and doing very interesting consumer-facing things with them. Kudos to Nintendo. They had a really good year last year, at least creatively, and I feel that deserves some praise, some rare praise in an industry full of utter bullshit. And maybe I'll do an episode on that. People say I don't talk about Nintendo enough. So that's what I'll do at some point in the future. Until then, thank God and the full Windsor for me.